everybody, and welcome to Season 2 of the Party of Two podcast. I am one of your hosts, the Internet's Andrea Donica.
And I am your other host, the Internet's Mark B. Donica.
And today we are going to be talking about, one, why we have been quiet for our season break.
A surprise season break?
Yeah, it kind of happened suddenly. Mark, why don't you tell the audience what you want to say
what I'm
about
going to say. So a couple things happened. One, Los Angeles just became a really difficult place to live, and for our friends and family that are still over there, you know exactly what you're talking about. But for people that may be listening around the country, around the world, actually no, I know we have some people that listen in Australia, which there's some stuff that I want to talk about from there. But
yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it was very hard to live in Los Angeles. We were in the process of moving out of our apartment back to one of our parents' house to sort of recollect, regroup, and I was going to reattack the job market in the entertainment industry, or not, to be perfectly honest, to try to get us back on our feet because we were not in a great place. We were about a quarter of the... I think this is my first time telling this story, this part of the story, like publicly. We were about a quarter of the way through, like, beginning, and I got a call from somebody that I had recently worked with, and they said, hey, there's this job opening, but it's in Orlando. I think you'd be perfect for it. You should reach out because you'd be working with an old friend of ours. Now, I'm not going to say exactly what I'm doing or who I work for, but people who know me, and fingers crossed for some stuff that I want to do in season 2, you'd probably figure it out pretty easily where I'm working. But it was an opportunity for a company that I've been wanting to work for a long time. I would be working on, and am currently working under, a friend that I have known for 10 years and worked with in California. And you can't, even though it was starting literally at the bottom and starting all over, completely restarting, having to move across the country. We drove across the country in 4 days.
So tiring.
It was very tiring. We decided on our last day, we were in New Orleans, just to make sure that we made our move-in time. We took about a 2-hour nap at 1 a.m.
Maybe 3.
And left before sunup and got to experience the Gulf at sunrise, which was pretty cool. And beautiful, even though I only half remember it, because that last day, neither of us probably should have been driving.
Probably not.
So we move into one of our folks' house and waiting on bated breath for this opportunity. And clearly, as we are here, everything worked out. I'm now a little bit over a month into this new job, and it's everything I could have hoped for. I'm very happy that the first West Coast import friend is going to be coming in as we're recording this upcoming week, and I can't wait to see them. But we have friends who are like, we try not to be selfish and please come visit us. Please come visit us. And we attach onto that. I mean, we've got theme parks here. You want to come see Disney World? You want to come see Universal Hollywood? Orlando. And one other experience that I want to talk about today. So that process, I don't even remember when our last episode was, to be perfectly honest. Let me look us up. It's been a couple months. It was early spring, I think. Like, once the moving process started, we were just so defeated and out of it. Like, we went to the Knott's Boysenberry Festival the first week and fully intended to do a show and a full review. We had as much as we could. It was so good. Surprisingly, the chili and the sausage were among the best things that we had had. Oh my
gosh, that chili was so good.
I think we had among the four of us, because we went with our friends the Shuttleworths, we had 7 or 8 bowls, because I know some of us double dipped.
Probably possible. And the small hack that I discovered. Well, I mean, that's what everyone calls it. It doesn't mean that it's actually a hack. I just realized, I should put this and this together and it will be delicious. I put the chili on the sausage, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was amazing. And if you enjoy the Boysenberry Festival next year, I highly recommend doing that, because there is no way those two things aren't coming back. And of course, the chili and sausage line, because they're at the same booth, it was the longest. And it was 100% worth it. Would do it so many times. 13 out of 10 would recommend. So
our last episode was March 6th.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
When we talked about when they announced the delay of Rise of the Resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the irony, too, because we were potentially going to have a discussion where one person said, well, it would be better to do it in Anaheim first versus going to Orlando first.
Well,
and
here we are.
Then this happened. And I'm sure some of you are possibly wondering, what is Andrea doing in the middle of this big move? This is something that I haven't really talked about here on the show, but I am currently on extended disability. I injured myself at work multiple times, but this last one has my dominant hand out of commission, which has made things rather difficult.
Yeah, so more of the stuff that we've been doing at theme parks has been less rides and more being there to experience, like no, it wasn't our last theme park visit, but the Knott's trip was primarily something to just have the food. We did the mine train, but we didn't do any of the roller coasters. Like, it was a very low-key day. We did Disney a couple times before we left, but those were also very low-key, very just nothing. So I'm really happy, though, because now that we are I think I should say a positive to pull out of this is, for this show, it gives you the opportunity, especially now that we're in the Mecca, to really be the producer, the show leader, the showrunner, and sort of keep me on my toes, because back in California, I was running 4 or 5 shows that were either weekly or semi-weekly, whatever. And now I work 50 to 60 hours a week, and while I love it, it's very tiring. Today we were supposed to record a lot earlier, and then we got home from lunch, and I slept for 3 hours, 4 hours,
somewhere around there. You just kind of passed out on the sofa, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just let him do his thing. Apparently he is really tired. I will say the humidity here has completely changed our body dynamics on how we react to everything. We've been to Orlando once before. It was for Honeymoon 2.0, because we had a first part, but that's another story for another time. And we went around April, towards the end of April. It was during Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival then.
That was great.
In 2017. And it was wonderful. Weather was pleasant. Didn't mind it at all.
We had a couple of rain spots.
I mean, it only sprinkled for maybe like here or there, and I don't remember ever walking in it either. I think it just happened while we would be asleep.
No, so it happened a couple times at the theme parks, but it was very, very brief.
Rose-colored glasses, I guess, but we're here in the middle of sweltering heat that has gone up to about 98, 100 now. We're in June, and the gloom is real. The thunderstorms are real. They are intense. And you get dehydrated really fast. We're used to the dry heat. In many ways, my skin is happier for the humidity, but everything internally is like, you don't have all of the water that you need. You don't have all of the vitamins that you need. So I am taking a completely new approach to my health. And as much as I'd like to go outside every single time, if I do it too much, I realize, oh, that's going to completely destroy all of the energy, what little I have. And I think that that's something really interesting to note if you are a traveler visiting theme parks. If you are going from the West Coast and visiting the East Coast, those are things that you should keep in mind too. It's not just about staying hydrated, and while yes, that's important, it helps to maybe throw some electrolytes in there. Snacks, don't eat something that's going to weigh you down, but, eat some almonds and some little dried fruits, and keep snacking, keep on going through.
It's to say that the humidity, to keep walking in humidity takes a lot more energy than you're used to.
Yeah.
It drains you a lot faster. And what we haven't been able to go to a park yet since we've been here, but we have been to both City Walk and the magical Disney Springs.
So magical.
As well as some of the resorts. We just sort of walked around, got on a bus or monorail, and we got to the gates of the Magic Kingdom before just being like, we can't do this right now.
But at least we saw all of the supports going up for the Tron coaster. That was really exciting. Before anybody had even reported on that. I'm like, ooh.
That's all of the construction for, just in general. Like right now they have a road project going up on one of the major highways here, and it's like Los Angeles public works projects can just be dragged out because the companies doing them are like, whatever, we got our money, blah, blah, blah. And the one time we noticed a change was during when they actually had to close the freeway to work on an overpass, and they paid them a bonus to get it done over a weekend. And I was like, why don't you just do this all the time?
Yeah.
And for Florida, since you have to make stuff that's resistant to the rain and it rains all the time, you have to be able to work in those bursts, and they do. The freeways around us close every night at about 10 or 11 until the early hours of the morning, so that it can be boom, jam, bunch of work done. Boom, jam, bunch of work done. And the Tron coaster was no exception. The supports were up really fast. The entire track was up really fast. It was only a matter of a couple of weeks. And they were like, boom, 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 we have to get this done, because now we have to construct the enclosure to keep it all covered. It's going to be great when it opens up.
It's going to be so pretty.
Yeah. So, long story short, not really, because we're about 15 minutes in. Life-changing opportunity, but the fact that it brought us out to Orlando isn't lost on us, and everything is kind of an attraction here, not just the theme park area, though there's a distinct difference now that we live sort of departed from the theme park area as opposed to where we were when it came to being here for just a temporary part. It's such a change of how everything's laid out. Like once you hit International Drive, it's like, oh, we're in the touristy part now.
Yeah.
And everything is about 20 to 30 minutes away, like no matter where you want to go.
Which is really convenient. And some people might feel like that's too long of a drive, but also coming from Los Angeles, it's like, no, this is kind of what we're used to, except for the theme parks.
Well, also, it's not traffic. Like, yes, I like yesterday I was stuck in some traffic and it was bad.
Yeah.
But it's just generally take about 20-30 minutes. 20-30 minutes. And whether some places are close and there's a little bit of traffic, or some places are far and there's no traffic, it all kind of evens out. There are gas stations everywhere you go. So it's not like you're driving in the middle of nowhere. There's just a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of differences, but one of the major differences is that they keep it real dark over here.
So dark. We were having a discussion last night. it was saying, well, why don't they put out some more solar for lights for the street? And Mark pointed out to me, yeah, well, all of the thunder and the lightning. And I said, oh yeah, that's right. That would be complicated, I suppose.
Yeah.
And once the dark clouds roll in, just everything gets really dark. Yeah. Really fast. Really moody.
And the clouds, I don't know what I like better, it being cloudy or it being clear sometimes, because now that we have very dark clouds as opposed to clouds at all, I'm sure there will be a time where, coming from cloudless Los Angeles and now getting used to the clouds, well, I guess it's different for me because I'm inside all dang day.
Yeah.
And even some glimpses of the outside that I get from the office, it's heavily tinted. So the other day, looking outside, I'm like, oh, it's really dark outside, and then no, it's bright. It's very bright. It's just the design of that particular part of the office. This is still a theme park show. We talked about it a little bit. Now that we are here, we sort of have to, well, first of all, we have to finish paying off all of our annual passes from California. That's a little frustrating. Yeah. But now it's time to sort of bolster the coffers and be ready to go to any and all theme parks down here. And it's ridiculous, some of the pricing. They have visitor passes where you can get one of 3 parks across 3 days and mix and match and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of local deals.
Epcot has I think it's an after 4 or after 6 pass.
Yeah.
Literally a yearly pass. It just blows my mind. I never even thought they would make an annual pass like that, but that's pretty cool.
Well, we saw, when we were initially planning to go to Tokyo last year, we saw that they have a ticket, an after 4 ticket that is $20 cheaper, $20-$30 cheaper, and yeah, I mean, I guess more places do that. And
Disneyland used to do that.
We're now in the process of being very strict with our budget and
hashtag millennial life.
Seriously, and figuring out getting back on a regular bill paying schedule. And then being like, okay, what's extra? How much can we spend here? When can we start? Should we pay off the old stuff first? Should we get the new passes right away? Et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But I want to go before the end of the month, and I know you want to go as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So despite being here now, we still have Knott's annual passes. And I still want to go back. I'm sure you want to go back. Oh,
yeah, 100%. And we're going to be going back to Southern California in the next couple of months. We're going to be in Anaheim for D23 in August. There are certain things that we have had in the cards no matter what. And if not just August, we'll most likely also be demanded back in December by our families.
Yeah, our parents especially. But and also the version of the Cedar Fair pass that we got, I want to go to one of the parks out around here, Kings Island.
Yes, Kings Island is a place that I've been wanting to go forever since I started diving into just theme parks in general nationally, and that's one of the top 5 that people start to talk about. And now we're closer to that neck of the woods, and we just have to hop into the car and drive for a bit, but we'll be there. Or we could probably take a quick flight over. Probably wouldn't be too bad.
We're closer to Kings Island than ever. It's beautiful. It's a 13-hour drive. So
okay, probably fly then.
No. Yeah, no, that's almost completely, that's 3/4 of the way up the country.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything is relative. It's one thing just looking at a map,
that's good.
But
it's just outside of Cincinnati. So At least we have a major city that we can fly into.
That's nice.
But I know, Andrea, there was some stuff. So, like, I've been sort of in and out of life, but also theme park news. There's a couple of things that I noticed here and send your way, and you're like, yeah, that was days ago. So
I also have essentially nothing to do during the day. I'm kind of sitting around. Maybe I'll go out to the pool or something, but I'm homebound right now, and I'm constantly looking at theme park articles. And
theme particles?
Articles.
Yeah, theme particles.
Oh.
That was me trying to be dumb.
That's okay.
And I succeeded. Thank you. Self high five.
Okay. The hardest thing throughout this entire period for both Mark and I have been trying to avoid Galaxy's Edge spoilers. Because as exciting as it has been to move to the theme park mecca that is Orlando, moving away from Anaheim literally a month before the opening that we have been waiting for, arguably long before Bob Iger got on stage at D23 and announced that they were building it probably for our entire lives. It hurts a bit.
I wouldn't even say arguably. Yeah, it's not arguably. I'm so mad. We've lived in California, Southern California, Disney, very close. We've been annual pass holders for 14, 15 years, 16, 17, 28 years, 30 years,
whoa,
300
okay.
years.
Whoa.
I'm just giving just a frame.
Sure.
And
we're not that old, folks.
The month. The literal month.
The month.
We go. I guess this is what I get for saying that the Florida version is going to be better. It
did kind of feel like karma hit you in the
life
face.
Kicking me in the pants going, all right, well, sucker, go and wait for that. Thank you.
I've been holding that in for months, actually.
No, I think we talked about it.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Either way, it's my fault.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We're in a better situation now. But it's hard because literally everyone and their mother and their grandmother is talking about the new land. People that have lived in Orlando have flown out to Anaheim to be the first to go to Galaxy's Edge. We were expecting that we were going to go, pretty much right away or as soon as we could.
Yeah.
We weren't going to buy a night at one of the Disneyland Resort hotels because we didn't want to drop the money for that. That would have been wasteful, but we were definitely excited. We were definitely planning, and
well, this was before any of the reservation stuff came out. So before there was a plan, before they had announced that reservations were a thing. Like that was the last episode that we did. They said that reservations are going to be a thing. And we went, okay, I guess we'll keep an eye out on those. And then all of this happened, and it was like, well, we can't make any reservations because we won't be there to make. We'll just be taking them away from other people. And watching friends of ours go through that process, watching other parks people go through that process, was like, okay, it might have been very easy. I would have compared it. If I had done it, I would have tried to compare it to something like waiting for Comic-Con reservations or something along that nature.
Yeah.
But it seemed to work out. I haven't heard, while trying to avoid all this stuff, I haven't heard of any major security issues. I haven't heard of any crowd control issues. Just that if you aren't in the first part of the day, the average reservation, the first hour of your reservation has people from the previous reservation time sort of milling about and being escorted out. Then you have 2 hours of just your chunk of people, and then your last hour is mixed in with the first hour of the next reservation.
Yeah.
That's the only and despite all of that and seeing glimpses of Instagram stories of people, I haven't seen anything really negative.
The main thing that has come out that has been negative that I've seen has been the fault of park guests, unfortunately. People are stealing stuff out of the land already. Apparently at Docking Bay 7 or 94, the eatery.
Yeah.
They had created special sporks
Well, just
for the
metal
land.
sporks. You know,
yeah,
like,
but, well, I mean, they were all, you know, they looked naturally handcrafted. You know, it was something to make the land feel more authentic. And people were stealing them, and they've been selling them on eBay. People have been stealing parts of the Millennium Falcon from Smuggler's Run and listing that on eBay. Can I just say, people, this is why we can't have nice things, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. And don't do that, please, because you're just ruining it. You're ruining the experience for everybody else. Let other people, once they finally get the chance to go, because they have, one, spent as much money as you to try and go, waited as long as you have, if not longer. Don't take the experience away from them. Don't tell Disney that the rest of us don't deserve that full experience, because that is not yours. That's for everybody to enjoy. Don't piss all over it.
We talked about it on a previous episode when it came to Disney starting to punish resellers and people using their annual passes to resell stuff, and they're essentially breaking contract.
Yeah.
And we got a storm rolling in. But it used to be a thing where it wasn't really talked about, and I would say online stores, not necessarily just eBay, but online auction culture has ruined certain experiences. And when sometimes you would have something in your family where it's like, yeah, we got that from this place and nobody even knows that we have it, but it's this cool thing. And then it's sort of like, it doesn't make it any better, but it definitely isn't as worse as trying to make a buck off of it, you know? So it's one of those things where you would have this spork and be like, this is from the opening of Galaxy's Edge. And I'm sure there are, if it happened at the rate that they're just like, well, this is a terrible idea so fast, then I figure only a fraction of those sporks, unless it was one person literally walking over to a service kiosk and just stuffing their bag full of stuff. But there's a great article I wanted to say. There's a great article, Forbes.com, written by a friend of the show, Simon Thompson, who looked into specifically Galaxy's Edge and all of the stuff that's being popped up on eBay and reselling sites. And he talked to a lot of great experts, and he's also a theme park guy. I think I would only say Universal more so than Disney, just because it was closer to us. But great guy, great friend, and a wonderful writer who does more than just park stuff. He's Showbiz Simon on Twitter, so he does a lot of movie things. but definitely check out that article. I would say just Google Forbes and Galaxy's Edge, and you'll be there. It's been very difficult to avoid stuff, especially just on like social media and Instagram stories. For me, Instagram stories, it's like checking all of the emails to make them red, you know, so that you have no notifications on all that stuff. So the top bar of Instagram having all of this new stuff and then loading up a story, and it's like 30 little dots of something, and you've heard me before, just me going like,
oh yeah,
that's me clicking through Instagram stories, and especially when it's stuff that I don't want to see, like Leo and Sarah and all of the people that they're retweeting and reblogging and all that stuff. Is just like, go enjoy. My favorite piece of media from the first couple of days is I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds by saying this. My brother is a computer animated designer, and he helped do some of the work on Galaxy's Edge. And he was posting pictures of stuff that he designed in the land. He just posted a thread of it, and it was just a random, like water heater looking thing, or fixtures, just random fixtures, random pieces of the of the decor with no stories, no nothing, just I built that, I built that, I built that, I built that. And I was like, this is wholesome internet. Wholesome internet. And while we're plugging people, Nerd Mountain Shop is a place where you can go to get a lot more merchandise than we currently have available on our website, on our TeePublic. So Nerd Mountain, check them out. It's not just park stuff, but they have some really good stuff there too.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to have him on the show before all of this moving stuff came up, but because he's done a lot of other theme park stuff, and I want to know more about it. So yeah, I just want Galaxy's Edge, man.
In terms of avoiding social media, I've just been trying to not open Instagram at all, which has not been easy. You know, I prefer to use Instagram usually more for actual personal friends in my life. We've got a wonderful couple that we know. Their son is battling cancer, and so a lot of the updates on what's going on with him, they'll post there. Thankfully, it reposts to a lot of other places as well, but if I get tagged in something because, you know, I like to support them, suddenly I've opened Instagram. Dear God, no, don't look at Aga's Cantina. Don't look at this drink. Though apparently everybody likes blue milk more than green milk. That's great. I guess we'll find out eventually. One thing I will say, if you go, definitely have a lot of money with you. It hurts.
No fooling.
That's kind of the one thing that I have looked at for articles is how much do things cost? There was a top 5 or top 10 most expensive souvenirs in Galaxy's Edge, and a lot of them were helmets, I noticed. But of course,
really?
You know, yeah, they've got there was like a Kylo Ren mask, and that one was around, I want to say $650, somewhere in that ballpark. You could get Stormtrooper. I'm sure there are Vader helmets as well, though I didn't see that. But they've got a whole lot of different things. Of course, I'm most excited to get my own personal DJ Rex droid. And I know that he's
Huh?
The Bluetooth speaker. And I know that he is, I think he's $149.99. I have that number solidified in my head, and that is probably the first thing that I am going to try to purchase once he becomes available over here, as well as, of course, the pop figure that's going to be coming out.
Pop, there's the lightsabers that are about 200
want the lightsaber.
Droids. Like, I've been trying, like, it's hard because with the modern advertising age of everything listening to you, and right now we've got our cell phones by us and we're talking about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
It's going to try and give us ads later.
It already does. and like YouTube, like, and just watching theme park stuff on YouTube, it's going to come up. It's like, oh, well, you'll probably want this because the algorithm is dumb. And there's a couple of things that soft spoiled, I guess, would be the right way to do it. Like, I'm at this point, the fact that there are so many videos coming across the dash of the on-ride video, which is terrible quality no matter how you put it, no matter how you do it, like, there are a couple of things that got spoiled, and I'm like, I wish that the internet.
Even if you go onto the Disney Parks blog, I opened it up to look at a completely different article. I think it was for something related to Epcot, and they upload these different banners on the top of, you know, these high quality, beautiful images from the parks. And of course, they've now uploaded a bunch of Galaxy's Edge stuff, and one of them was, unfortunately, a spoiler for Smuggler's Run. And I was just like, darn it, I can't click anywhere.
Pre-show or post-show?
Pre-show.
Okay, thank God. At least it wasn't like a post-show thing. That would be
no,
way
but
too
people
much.
have been doing so many videos of the post show of Smuggler's Run and like just trying to scroll past. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where the D came from.
Well, Edie's is a brand that exists here of crisps.
Are we gonna talk about rusks now?
No, we're not going to talk about rusks. I was just talking like Lay's here are Edie's. Or no, something else.
Really?
There's a major brand that we've known as one thing that is Dreyer's. Dreyer's ice cream is Edie's ice cream.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's been something wild too. It's looking really, really crazy every time we're driving around, whether we're looking for a fast food place or at the grocery store. So many different names of products and corporations that we're used to seeing. Just the fact that we have to call Carl's Jr. now Hardee's.
I mean, have to is we're lucky to where Hardee's, it's mostly Hardee's. Like Carl's Jr. acquired Hardee's, so there's a lot of their branding there. So like the stuff that we have at a Carl's Jr. on the West Coast isn't at a Hardee's here, but there's plenty of stuff that Hardee's had beforehand, like fried chicken, hot dogs, biscuits, like a whole bunch of stuff that's like, oh, this is a Southern brand, cool. But I say luckily, the closest one is like 10 miles. There's a lot getting used to different stuff on the side of the road and where it is and how common gas station culture is. That's interesting. Every gas station has like a huge, I don't know, mega mart, I guess you would put it. And some of those are their own brand. Like Shell has Circle K, or Wawa is its own thing. And having recently visited the Church of Wawa, I'm not a full convert yet. I haven't had the coffee, but I have had a Wawa sandwich. Real good, remarkable stuff. This place is magic. They're everywhere. And that's the thing, is the frequency of which you would see a McDonald's in California, because where I grew up as a kid, we had a McDonald's literally to the left and right of us.
It was really crazy.
Yeah, it was less than a mile away from each other. And then if you go a mile further in that direction, there's another one. And if you go about a mile and a half in the other direction, there's another one. But with that frequency, there are these huge gas station complexes of like 20 to 30 stalls of gas. And then you go inside and then it's its own store. It's remarkable. And like cafe and this and that. And that's been a weird thing to get used to. And clean. Like Mr. Ken Knapsack, dear calling Ken Knapsack, congratulations on your book. Now yes. I can get your book. 7-Elevens, like 7-Eleven gas stations are wonderful, magical places, and you would feel right at home. And I know you've been to Orlando and the South and all that stuff, so I'm sure you're familiar. But we're walking distance from a 7-Eleven, and I know you know what that feels like. It's so dangerous. It's remarkably dangerous.
And delicious.
Delangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerlicious.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
Dangerlicious, 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 dangerlicious. Thank you. Checks in the mail. I don't want to talk about Galaxy's Edge anymore because we were offsetting our auto-populate so much.
Do we want to talk about Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure? Can you say that 5 times fast?
I don't even remember the name half the time.
Yeah, I just say Hagrid's
You're a wizard, you're a wizard, you're a wizard, you're a wizard, you're a wizard. I'm a what?
It's going to be opening next week. It's on schedule. Apparently, though, they have been having some issues with testing. From what we're hearing in terms of rumors, apparently the weight of the coaster itself is already causing some damage to the track. And they're suggesting that they might have to remove some of the cars. Of course, that's going to decrease capacity, which would be a bummer. But as a result, as far as we know, they haven't done any soft openings. They haven't done any testing with the public or with any of the employees directly working inside of the park. But rumor has it that even with all of this going on, they're still good for their opening. And with Mark and I tooling around at City Walk, we already saw some of the merchandise up. It was really nice. It's really cool seeing all of the different creatures with their different plushies. I don't remember seeing a blast-ended Scroot yet.
No, we did. It got you excited.
Man, I can only remember things.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I guess
that was Detective Pikachu's opening weekend when we first tooled around and walked around the entire thing. Did I take pictures of anything?
You might have. They made essentially like a really cool poster of the attraction, which feels very much like one of the Harry Potter film old school posters.
So there's a Scroot, there's Fluffy, there's a unicorn, the water pixies.
You mean the mer people? There's the Cornish pixies.
Cornish pixies.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're little evil buggers.
Yeah. I'm still like, my Harry Potter knowledge could be better, and I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll improve with time.
Yeah.
And my exposure.
So we, as much as, Disney is what we want to do, Universal has always been a good alternative when it comes to price.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they're always, like we were talking about earlier with the different promotions that they have with tickets. We were at Publix, I think, and there was a kiosk saying buy 2 days, get 2 days free.
Yeah.
That's not a bad deal.
But at the same time,
we experienced something similar to that when we were here back in 2017, too.
Yeah, well, we walked up to the concierge of the place we were staying, and they're like, oh, we can get you a better price. And it just seems that everywhere has better options.
Yeah.
Everywhere has better... everything. It's even better than the buy a day, get a day. Though I think they were running that on Coke cans a little while ago, but that just sort of expired. Was buy a day, get a day. Don't know if that means one day, one park. Don't know if that means a park hopper or whatever. But I won't be there for this roller coaster.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm so excited for this. I'm really excited that the designers were able to, take some liberties from the books themselves and, be able to create a few things on their own. I'm really excited to see that giant Hagrid audio animatronic. He looks amazing. I've tried to avoid too many spoilers in terms of the ride, but I like what Universal's been doing. They'll just kind of show you a picture here, a picture there. They're very subtle about it. They're not telling you everything, but I mean, there's enough information out there where you could probably piece together most of the ride if you wanted to.
I don't know. I think it looks a lot like it's showing you Act 1 up until Act 2, because the rumors of there being some sort of a battle, some sort of a show scene with more human characters and this and that hasn't made it out yet. Because it's it's all covered by the ride itself and by the geography and the architecture of the ride. There's a lot of negative backlash on the Hagrid animatronic because people thought it looked weird or bad or this or that, which, first of all, silly. Everybody knows the only animatronics that look bad from a major park are the ones in the Calico Mine ride because those are terrifying.
Well, I mean, the Johnny Depp audio animatronic at Pirates, at least back in Anaheim,
everywhere. Any of the final scene Jack Sparrow animatronics, they would nail it a couple of times, and it would just like, oh, cool, they finally got it.
And then something would go wrong.
Why do all of the other talking audio animatronics not get their faces as replaced as the Jack Sparrow one. It's weird.
I mean, I also figure they just have to replace it due to wear and tear.
But that's what I mean, is here is some stuff that's been going for the past 5 to 10 years, maybe. Like, or rather, I should say, how is it more noticeable on the Jack Sparrow and not as noticeable on any of the other talking animatronics?
I think the problem is we know what the actual person looks like, and then trying to look at all of the other Pirates animatronics, they're cartoonized. They have, you know, overextended features, so, you know, they can look the way they look. And we're not going to fully judge them for that. I mean, they're not...
we're not going to judge you for how you look, animatronic pirates, so we know you're listening.
The auctioneer, in terms of what I've seen, he's always looked really great. Red, she looks pretty good. Pretty good.
I was going to say Barbossa hasn't had a noticeable change since they added his scene. So either, one, they haven't had to change him out nearly as frequently, or they had a couple of backups, or two, they've changed him out with the same frequency, and the quality of the faces hasn't changed as much as the Jack Sparrow one at the end.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm just saying. It's a strange anomaly that it's just those faces that are always a thing.
It is kind of a weird, perverse thing, though. Every time I go on Pirates in Anaheim, I'm always excited to see what Jack looks like at the end. I'm like, is his face going to be even more screwed up than last time? I don't know.
Who's playing Jack? What Imagineer is playing Jack today?
Tony? Stop.
Did they just delete the face scan files and haven't wanted to pay for...
No. They would have saved those molds.
I'm making a joke.
Okay.
So they lose
but
the
I
files, and
just
because of how expensive it is to get dep for a day, they're just like, no, we got them. Just give us another try. We got it.
I remember watching the behind the scenes thing that they did when they were doing the stuff from the films on top of the attraction, and they actually recorded making the face molds of both Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush, and their goofy faces from having to experience it, because they had to sit with that stuff on their face for a while.
Yeah, it's the life mask process.
That's not an easy thing to do.
Lincoln went through that, you know.
Ugh.
That's how they got his life mask, is they covered him in polystyrene. And he just sort of sat with a hairnet on to keep all of his stuff at bay. And then he came out and was like, is that what I look like in all this goo? Now. Get me out of this thing right now. But I'm excited for this coaster.
Yeah.
They knock the Harry Potter stuff out of the park every single time.
Every time.
And it'll be interesting to see what the schedule is like for this roller coaster in Florida weather, especially with the wear and tear it's already experienced in the couple of months that they've been testing it, and then adding the regular rain schedules, the regular wear and tear. We've been watching a lot of Expedition theme park and seeing some of the stuff that the British coasters go through in terms of wear and tear, and
really
even some of the stuff here. He does some great work over there. They did some stuff with Knott's.
Yeah,
he's doing Expedition Knott's, which is very interesting, because it's also going more into the people. At least for Knott's so far, it's going into the people before it goes into the attractions. But either way,
understanding the history gives you a new perspective on why things are there, why things were built the way they were. I highly recommend the channel. You should definitely check him out.
And even stuff in our old neighborhood, like, yeah. To be fair, we didn't really get turned on to California's Gold until more recent. I say recently, being like 6-7 years, but even so, that show was on PBS for 20-30 years with Huell Hauser, and doing an episode on Knots where he's walking with Walter and Cordelia's, or two of Walter and Cordelia's girls around the park and at the chicken restaurant and all of that. Very, very interesting to get that close of a look into what life was like. And we're back at Knots. But I hope that we can give a full report on Hagrid's before too long.
Yeah. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer until... I don't know which park we'll be going to first.
Depends on the price.
Depends on the price. Yeah. I think right now we're looking between doing one of these Universal deals, and truthfully, Disney has some pretty good deals for Florida residents as well. I am itching so hard to go back to Epcot. I'm a little bummed that we missed out on the Flower and Garden Festival, but, you know, timing is everything, and it'll work itself out. So, that'll be alright. But speaking of other Universal properties, there has been some interesting stuff going on over at Volcano Bay. Mark and I always have fun now seeing the beautiful volcano steaming from the freeway, the highway, whatever you say. By the way, those compared to streets are very different than what we're used to in Los Angeles, and going to say you're going to feel like you should just be on a normally named street, but apparently you're driving on a freeway, or
a state road or something. Like that.
It's confusing as heck to me when I'm looking at maps, but what are you gonna do? But when you've got lightning and thunder and all of this crazy heat and humidity, you've got all of these crazy elements going on, and then you have all of these technical marvels that theme parks build. And sometimes weird things happen. Earlier this month, and we really haven't been all that far into June, truthfully, Volcano Bay workers were actually hospitalized after supposed technical issues. The park was closed early, and some guests were reporting that they were feeling electric shock in certain places in the park, which to me is really freaky. I mean, I'm already terrified about seeing all of this lightning shooting all over the place, but then to go to a water park, which has, lots of electric stuff going on, you hope and you pray and you trust that these companies know what they're doing. And then hearing that some of their own employees have to get hospitalized for something relating to this, that freaks me out. I want to go to one of these water parks really bad. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Mark does not want to go to water parks, but he acknowledges that we're going to have to. I want to go to H2O Glow Nights.
Well, that's different. That's an experience at a water park. Well, yes, there is water park stuff to be done. It's not the exclusive thing that you have to do. Much like Thanos, I acknowledge that these journeys are inevitable, but it's just, I've never really been a water park person. I've gone, to Hurricane Harbor, Raging Waters, Wild Rivers, any of the stuff from SoCal. Never made it to Soak City because the aversion started short around the time that was opening up. And even like when we got the passes for Knots, I accepted that Soak City would probably be an inevitability in having the passes and being summer and being able to go. And while I didn't openly say, hey, let's go to Soak City, I was like, if she brings it up, I can't say no. Because like, what's holding us back? We have the technology. The plastic technology that has a Silver Cedar Fair logo on it.
It's a beautiful, beautiful card.
It's pretty cool. I need to find it. I have it. I know where it is.
Okay. Don't. Oh my god.
Regardless, I will say
Marriage.
the digital
true.
stuff from the Knots app, great. I have my annual pass number on me at all times. So That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Volcano Bay was always intriguing just from the design. And, I mean, because the other two are Disney parks, it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
And we've been watching, like, Travel Channel specials and like the weird technology behind Walt Disney World.
These are the things we watch when we're eating dinner.
But at the same time, we've been watching them for years.
Oh,
we've been watching the same specials for years in an attempt to, like watching all of the theme park history stuff. It's interesting to go, oh, we've seen that special. We've seen that special. We know where that footage is from.
I discovered the Epcot opening special recently. That's something we need to watch together soon.
Well, there's a lot of theme park history. I'm trying to find albums now. Like, that's what I'm trying to look for. I'm trying to find any of the CDs from the theme park soundtracks, things of that nature. I found the Islands of Adventure one right before we left. And
that's right. I remember you texting me about that.
And I couldn't just because of the nature of technology. I wasn't able to load it onto my phone. Now I can. So that will be interesting. But yeah, cool water parks. You've especially with water parks in a highly stormy lightning and thunder region. I'm a little surprised. I wonder what the protocols are of them clouds. We're closed. Goodbye. Thank you.
I mean, they're going to have lifeguards, etc. around. I would figure that they're constantly monitoring that stuff to make sure that everybody is safe. In fact, I would almost say that you're probably going to be safer at a water park than you are just kind of like walking around maybe at a public park or something of that nature, or on the street, because you're actually going to have semi-professional people looking out for your safety.
Yeah.
I would kind of prefer that to just be hanging out over at my at our pool.
I don't know. Like, our pool it's not just out in the open. Yes, it's outdoors, but it's encircled by buildings that will get hit by lightning first, if at all.
Yeah. Did they do that on purpose?
Probably.
It's crazy. Everything in Orlando is crazy, and we're trying to adapt, but
we're doing our best.
We're doing our best, and we can't wait to share with you, our listeners, everything that we're going to be experiencing. We're never going to forget Southern California, where we were born and raised.
Impossible.
And we do miss it so much, but we're also very excited to be here in our new home and discovering all that Orlando has to offer.
3 words. Holy Land Experience. We're going to go.
We're
going to go to the Holy... It's so...
That's the inevitability.
I remember seeing... What up, Thanos? I remember seeing the first couple times we were here and driving up and down those roads and seeing the Holy Land Experience and going, what is that? There's this big Roman Colosseum type of thing, which is a terrible thing if you know anything about the Bible. Romans, not a great thing to design this. It's like...
I'd go to a gladiator theme park.
Well, I would. So it's like, what would you say is the saddest Disney moment from a film?
Simba crawling up to Mufasa when he's dead.
Now imagine, instead of Sleeping Beauty Castle, that's the monument of the park. Is like a giant Mufasa, dead Mufasa with Simba constantly. It's a fountain.
Dad?
And every once in a while you just hear, Dad? Just, that's the centerpiece of the park.
Well, and then I think of World of Color, and I go, why did you do that?
Yeah, but that's the Holy Land Experience. You've got a flipping gladiator arena, something that reminds you of the Romans, and the executors of the savior of the world, and that's your monument. That's how you choose to be seen for like what. I mean, it's not like there's a place in Tennessee that's just like a giant ark.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
And even that's like, okay, weird flex, but that makes a little bit more sense because that's a reminder of the time when God flooded the world, blah 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 blah. But so it's just really interesting to see that on the side of the road and not go, oh, we have to do that. I actually got a very good tip about when we should go visit that and how we should prepare that I will tell you about off screen. Before we go, I'm sorry if it sounded like you were wrapping up. Okay. So I wanted to thank, we actually got a review right after we stopped doing the show.
Oh yeah.
So I would like to thank PJ Campbell. PJ is a friend of mine from the Schmodown. He works on the production team and is an amazing guy. He has a podcast of his own, the PJ Campbell Show. Highly recommend it. And he also has twin corgis named Dipper and Mabel. Aww. And would highly recommend you following him on social media. But the title is too long to read, so I'll just say 5-star review. Mark and Andrea have brought their very real love for theme parks to life with Party of Two, which takes the listener on many wild adventures, both real and fun what-ifs, in the world of theme parks. Be it Disney, Universal, the Cedar Fair parks, these two are bringing some of the most interesting, fun, and up-to-date park news to those who might be missing it. It's not to be missed. Highly recommended. Thank you, PJ, and thank you, Sarah. Miss you guys. I know it's been a long time since I've had anything to do with the Schmodown, but hopefully if they ever come out this way, I'll have a chance to see you. And theirs was also a social media I was trying to avoid because they were all over the main like Schmodown group. I'd say the main Schmodown group, but I consider them the main Schmodown group. Went to Galaxy's Edge, and so it was like 4 feeds of Galaxy's Edge, get all the way through it. Oh, there's another one all the way through it. Oh, there's another one all the way through it. But yeah, we're very thankful and grateful to everybody who may be listening for the first time. If you are listening for the first time, please go back and listen to season 1 because we have some show concepts that we're going to be bringing back and we're going to be still doing. I got an idea for a show that, or at least an episode that I haven't talked to you about yet that I was going to, but then I passed out for 4 hours. That I don't know if it would be something that we do on here or we do on YouTube or whatever. But we have these ideas are starting to flow back. I'm starting to get an idea of what sort of time I have, but I'm really excited, Andrea, that you essentially are going to be the creative director for the show, and we're going to move forward in a very interesting way.
I'm super excited to hear all of the ideas you've got. I've got a couple up my sleeve. I've been doing some extra research with my extra time on the history and creation of certain parks and certain concepts that we know and love, stuff that we're waiting to hear about. I have a series, just a little tease for you all out there, Road to D23 Parks panel that I definitely want to share with you. I want to hear you, the listeners, what you think they're going to announce. We know that there's going to be a lot of news about Epcot, so there's definitely a lot that we want to talk about, certain pavilions, old and new incarnations of the past, and what that's going to look like in the future. Super excited. Before we go, Mark, where can our lovely listeners find you online?
So it's interesting these days. I haven't been really too much on social just because work is work. But when I do post, I try to make it a little bit more meaningful than just my dumbness. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MarkBDonica. If you're a cartoons fan, there's another show that has just started up over on the Rooster Team radio network, also on Anchor. We're talking about Camp, which is one of our favorite shows right now, and just in general. And so the team over there, we're talking about it. This new season just started up, and we're going to start expanding stuff over there too. But yeah, Mark Donica, follow us here on TeePublic, on Twitter, and we're and YouTube. If you're listening to us here, I want to try to figure out more ways that we can utilize our YouTube presence. But what about you, Andrew? Where can the folks find you on the internet?
I have been mostly quiet on some of my social media platforms, except for Twitter. You can find me at Dole Whip Drea. And if feel free to follow me. I will follow you back. If you want to start a convo, you can message me, tweet me, whatever. I would love to talk theme parks with you. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been our first episode of Season 2 of Party of Two Pod, and we'll see you on the next ride.